Welcome to the Daily B Show with Matey B and Sammy Moir. Episode 73. Guys, it's a little bit of a different one today. Usually we sit down, have a bit of a chat about someone's story, sort of poke and prod as to where they've been, where they come from, what they're doing, and yeah, just sort of go with the flow, get some good nuggets out of them and share some strategies of where they're at and what they've been able to do to help people on their journey. But Sammy this is her fourth appearance on the show, so she's leading the way.
Yep,
and,
so excited.
And hey guys, see you jumping on. Jade, Rosa, Brett, good to see you guys. Everyone, let us know where you're watching in from,
Rosa.
and if you're watching the replay. Amy, love you. But today, we're just going to basically have a bit of a chat. Different spin on obviously the previous episodes, but more so chat about some of the developments that have been going on in our life and just around the traps, and have a bit of a laugh, share a few stories, and yeah, just drop a few bombs on you guys, and hopefully it resonates, and yeah, take it from there.
Yeah.
So first of all, I've been over in Miami a few weeks ago. I got back basically 2 weeks ago, and have been in my own headspace and pondering on what to do. And since meeting Sam towards the end of last year, that was that. I'm losing what even month of the year it is. Yeah. There's just been this pull and this connection and this sort of drive and sort of magnetism towards one another to really want to just work together, just collaborate our energies, our knowledge, and bring what we've got to our peoples, like to you guys. Thanks, Rosa. Thanks, guys. From the sunny coast. So, I don't know, where do you want to start?
It's such a long story, isn't it?
Let's start with a quick bio, because there's a lot of people that I've specifically connected with over the last little while who maybe don't know yours or my story. So maybe just a quick intro as to who we both are and how we got here.
Okay, so my name's Samantha Moir, but please call me Sam. I can't deal with Samantha. I have a business called the Warrior Women Network. So I look after, I have a space where women come together. It's all about self-empowerment. It's all about being strong and fierce as fuck. So I love it. So I get to be around women who are just ready to make changes and are really ready to step up into their power and make the changes for their life unapologetically and actually really go forward and be strong without having to make excuses and being racked with guilt all the time. So naturally, with everything that you're doing and everything that I'm so about women taking the lead in their own life and having that space. But I feel going into 2019, and I've been approached on numerous occasions about when I'm going to start a men's network. And it's definitely something that I wanted to expand on a little bit more, because I actually want to get away from the segregation and the separation of the genders. So I guess that's something that we connected on talking about.
And so that's where we're at now. And even before that, a little bit of a background on your story as to what was the inspiration and motivation for you to even get into that as well, because you've got a pretty big backstory, a lot of stuff. But
so the business, is that what you mean, the business?
Yeah.
So the business itself started after I pretty much had that created that straight after a breakup with my son's father. And I was really faced with, do I want to be a single mum on welfare? Like where I was emotionally, financially, every part of my life was in turmoil, and I had to really sit back and think about not only what I was passionate about, but all the other mums that maybe didn't have my drive and where they were, because I felt so lost in dealing with a breakup and dealing with children and manoeuvring through that, but also, I don't know, having to look at the logistics of everything and what that meant when it came to money and time and being available for my children, for myself, as well as going through all the breakup. And I'm pretty fierce anyway, and I was really, happy to explore my options. But I had met so many women who were just trapped in their situation. It's exactly where I was. I just didn't feel like I had very, very limited options about what I was going to do, how I was going to make money, what I was passionate about, the role model that I wanted to be, not only just for my children but for myself. So I really had to sit back and look at everything and take that responsibility on from not only just my breakup but where I was going in the future, and that it was all on me, and I had to really take on that radical responsibility in order for me to move forward.
Cool. Epic.
Yeah, it's been hectic. It's been a hectic experience.
And for those of you that know Sammy's story as well, like it is truly inspirational. It is an example for so many women out there to really, like the warrior woman. It's a good catchy headline, but it really encapsulates her network, what she's doing, and the impact she's having, and the backstory. Excuse me, the backstory that goes with it as well. It's full on, and that was one of the attractions for me to Sam and her world, is just seeing people who defy the odds, seeing people who push through the doubts and insecurities, not only of themselves but of those around, and just are fierce as fuck in what they want to do. And the first thing that I noticed when Sam called me out of the blue after watching one of our episodes was, this chick's ruthless. She's ruthless, doesn't stop. And for me, that was something that in my past has not been the case. Like, I've been a fleeting leaf blowing in the breeze, just from here, there and everywhere. I've had over 70, 80 jobs in 30 to 40 different industries, managed many trades, master of none, and I'm a very right brain, big picture type of thinker. And so for me to get down and dirty in the detail and in the grunt work of life is really counterintuitive, and I fucking hate it, really, right? It's not my nature. I know that that's what needs to happen in order to get to sort of leadership positions, but it just was not in my nature. For a long time, I viewed that as a massive hindrance and something that held me back. But I think that radical self-awareness, once you really get involved with who you are and what your strengths and weaknesses are, the picture starts to form around where and what you can maneuver around, and what you can draw on, and what you can outsource. And
confronting.
It's fucking full on.
Confronting. So confronting.
Red and yellow.
Yeah, Katie.
That's right. So a bit about me, like with that floating around here and there, I never really knew what I wanted to do. I just tried everything, and I found a lot of things that I didn't want to do. I loved the learning process. I loved having my mind blown, and I loved the process of, as a leader in a few of my later sales and management roles, of actually leading people and getting them to points and different perspectives of thinking about life and about themselves that really had that penny drop moment for them. And through the process of getting my own coaching, I recognized that this deeper level of conversation, this higher level of conversation and questioning that these coaches were taking me through, was basically what I was doing for a lot of my life with people, is just getting into deep conversations and nutting out the nuts and bolts of what really mattered to their core. I just didn't have the skills and the processes and tools to take people full circle to actually create shifts in their life, which is what attracted me to the coaching spectrum and getting into that sort of space. And when I tapped into that and realized that was my skill and that was what I was doing already, I just needed just sort of polish the edges and find some processes and tools to actually take people that I was already having the conversations with full circle. It was a no-brainer. And then so again, we all got our doubts and insecurities, and after being trained up as a coach, I probably fucked around for about 6 months, reading more. I had this like addiction to certainty, and I really just wanted to get new mentors, get new courses, get new books, get new information, and I just went on this binge of deep diving into the most hectic, deep, complex topics and conversations within just the spectrum of information gathering, but I wasn't doing anything about it. And through facing yourself, facing your own shit, and just really being honest and true with myself, you can't hide. And so that's where a lot of the action-based started actually getting into a lot of action. So that's where, so again, through the last probably 6 months is where I've begun to began to put a lot of these lessons into action, step out of my comfort zone. And one of the things that's really driven that is the understanding that we can set a clear intention out into the future, but then that process of letting go and living in the moment, not being so attached to the how and the detail of it, but understanding that will figure itself out, and just really committing to a decision of what I want to do, but then being completely flexible and open to the path it takes to get there, or get to wherever we need to be, which is what we get in every moment anyway. So that's a bit of a backstory.
I think just to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, I think that's why our dynamic has worked, and that pull that we've had, because I am all action. I am all about just going for it, and don't worry too much about it. Just go after it. You can figure it out along the way. But you're very grounded and kind of very aware of what that looks like for everything that's in that. So that dynamic works really, really well, because I can be all action and I don't know, I think we've talked about that, like me trying to...
It's a big picture, little picture come together, and big picture detail, and then the rational, logical side plus the creative, emotional side as well. It just formed well. The yin and the yang is definitely at play. So it's fun too. Like we've only been really, I mean, every one of the episodes we've done, we've always had a lot of laughs and a lot of fun. But then since starting to actually put our brains together and collaborate, it's just got into this massive states of flow, because there's also that level of accountability. I think it's the Pygmalion effect, where we're more committed to other people than to ourselves. We're more likely to let ourselves down than let someone else down. So if you're going to go for a run in the morning by yourself, you're more likely to hit the snooze button and let yourself sleep in than if you've got a partner that's going to meet you out the front and actually go for a run with you. And there's there's been a lot of that conversation coming up lately about a lot of people talking about the business partners and big businesses that have actually started as collaborations, because it just, the dynamic works. Like you got Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, you got all these epic examples of businesses and organizations that have worked because they've got that multiple dynamic. And when two brains collaborate, or when two people come together, it doesn't double the input and double the value, it exponentially grows it.
Well, we've just got different strengths as well. So having that accountability where we can both go, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know what I'm doing. Help me. Yeah. You know, really leaning into our strengths and being able to outsource the weakness as well, or where we just don't feel as strong, and having somebody go, you know, I'll take over this, you can do this, and the flows, like just the confirmation and like a few of the things that we've talked about, hasn't it just flowed beautifully?
One of the things I spoke to actually this morning to Alexis was, I think it was on here. Oh no, she left. She was in New York. She's gone to bed. But it was about how a lot of coaches are basically teaching what they most need to learn, or in my experience anyway, like it's a self-healing process, and it's a self-therapeutic process of getting into this coaching space and helping others. Is everything that comes up for any of my clients is always stuff that I'm going through, or stuff that is going to be exposed for me to evolve and grow from as well. And I think, and I'm new in this space in the grand scheme of things, but what I'm seeing is that a lot of people get into coaching and they don't recognize that straight away. And so they're so gung-ho about creating this coaching consultancy business where it's actually their true self-expression that they're leading towards and that they haven't necessarily tapped into yet. Whereas the coaching is just a massive tool to add on to what their expression is, to add on to what their creative flair is in life and who they actually are. And that's where I'm excited about what we're doing is collaborating and doing a few things, is that we get to not just, okay, we're running a coaching business, but we actually know what we like to do in life, where we're planning our business around our life, not the other way around. And the coaching is just something that is an added bonus that is going to help drive and push that and grow that as well, which is just a epic add-on in a sense. So what are we doing?
Well, you say the name. You say it because you do it better.
Where are we starting?
Well, I reckon we should tell everyone about our free group.
Yeah.
For sure.
What's it called again?
I Don't Give a Fuck Club.
the I Don't Give a Fuck Club. So Sammy actually came up with that idea ages ago. She's like, I want to just start this I Don't Give a Fuck Club. I'm like, all right, where's that going to go? And then we did all this other stuff, and then we're like, oh, well, should we have a free group to just deliver a lot of content to people in, and what should we call it? What should we make it? And we're like writing down all these different names, and then all of a sudden, the I Don't Give a Fuck Club. Like,
it just encapsulates everything. It's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Just live your life, live your best life. Don't worry about it.
So what is it? I don't give a fuck. Yeah. Living the best life, being yourself, being true to yourself, not giving a fuck about other people's opinions, not giving a fuck about stigmas or stereotypes, or
not giving a fuck about the fear or even how the outcome's coming around, or what you're going after, or what anyone thinks, or what it looks like. Just not giving a fuck and just going for it anyway.
Because that's what keeps most people paralyzed.
Yeah.
Is the fucks given about the wrong shit.
Everyone in their head all the time. Constantly, and it's so freeing when you just are saying out loud, I just don't give a fuck, and just going after it.
Yeah. We shouldn't be putting our shit on clients, right? No, it's not about putting your shit on clients. You're still 100% engaged with them, but there's two minds, right? There's okay, Valerie, me and you are talking right now. Valerie's there, Matt's here. Okay, that's the duality. Okay, the dual mind, but then there's the non-duality as well, where there's no separation. The only reason it's coming up for you is because it's coming up for me. The only reason it's coming up for me is because it's coming up for you. And so it's never about what's outside of us. Whatever's coming up, it's not about that. It's not about what's coming up outside of us. It's coming up outside of us because there's something inside of us that has brought it to our attention.
And that's happened for me. Like, I created the Warrior Women Network because I always felt that I wasn't supported or self-supporting. So I created an entire network to support women. So it was so therapeutic for me to have something available for what I needed, and for the support that I didn't feel like I had or I was giving myself, I was able to have that come full circle. Yeah.
So how does that then tie into the I Don't Give a Fuck Club? How many fucks were given, or what? Because okay, do you want me to? Yeah, you answer first.
No, you go.
Okay. So I didn't give many fucks as a youngster, and the more personal development I do, the more I grow and evolve and learn. It's like I'm stripping away the shit that got added on to me from when I was a youngster, and learning that I actually had it right as a kid. Kids have it right. I literally go down the street and model children now, and I get my clients to do it as well. I go for a walk, go to a park somewhere, find kids around, and just do what they do, model kids, because that's what I've been learning, is the more we strip away our limitations and our perspectives that don't support us, it strips it back to being a kid, where they just don't give a fuck. They go jump in a puddle, they go chase a butterfly, they do whatever the fuck they want. They are such a true self-expression of living right in the moment. And that's what's so attractive and appealing about children, is that they are being the way that we want to be, but we're consumed and boxed in by all this shit that we've decided to take on throughout our life. And And that's fine. That's the process of devolution we go through, and then we rise back up in our journey of evolution if we choose to take that hero's journey. So I recognise that I gave little fucks, and it got drilled into me so many times, like, Matt, you don't care. Have some respect. Do this, do that. And it did get to a point throughout my teen years and young adult life where I was not giving a fuck about the wrong things. Okay, so there's a supportive, resourceful way of not giving a fuck, and then an unsupportive and unresourceful way. And for a long time, I unresourcefully not gave a fuck about the wrong things, and it was detrimental to my health, my relationships, my finances, my career. It was a detrimental way of being. But I also recognised that the way children don't give a fuck is a really healthy way. And as adults, the more we tap into that being in the moment, not giving a fuck about the wrong things, the greater our relationships are, the greater our finances are, the greater our career and our businesses go, the greater relationship we have in our job, if that's what we have. Yeah.
Well, it's like, and not giving a fuck is pretty much you just saying, I'm not thinking about, like, I'm not going to think about this. I'm not going to overthink it, because with what you're saying with children, like, myself as a parent, I can see myself doing this all the time, but, you know, putting the fear in them, or don't do this because, and actually seeing myself training them to be so in the future and worrying about what the outcomes could be, that when you become adults and you start to go, what does that look like? What's that going to be like? How's that going to be? Whereas if you don't give a fuck, you just do it and work it out after. Like, there's less space and inaction time. You're like closing the gap on your action and the anxiety of worrying about the future.
Yeah. So what's an example then, now that you've got evidence from where not giving a fuck about the future has worked?
It works in so many things. I'm going to move. Like, just the opportunity came up with like 2 weeks, 3 weeks for me to move. And I just went, yep, I'll just figure it out. I'm going to move. That's what I'm doing. And we'll just do it. And just packed everything up, ready to go.
Have you got a place to move to yet?
No, but I will.
By when? And by when?
The end of this week. I'll be moving by the end of this week. Figure it out. When I got my radio presenting job that I do, I wanted that for to platform women in my network. I had never had any media training or journalism or marketing or anything like that, and I just went, I'm just going to go do it. We'll just figure it out. And that's exactly how it has been. I've just figured it out along the way, because if I had sat back and thought of all the things that I was lacking in, or all the things that I didn't feel like I could deliver or knew enough about, I just wouldn't have done it.
Or the things that maybe would have gone wrong, or the reasons why you wouldn't have got it, or the reasons why people would push you back, like all the reasons, like, and you know, when we think of the reasons, we come up with them, they sound so good. It's like, that's a really good reason why it won't work. Surely that's the one.
And it still puts you in that place of disbelief. Like, I know with the radio, I'm still like, really? I can't believe. It's still. And that's because I just bypassed that worry about it and bypassed that anxiety all about what could happen to, now it's like delayed. Well, that happened.
Yeah.
That worked out.
Yeah. That was the Miami trip that just went for me.
Yeah.
3 days beforehand, I'm like, how the fuck is this going to happen? And it was only 2 weeks before that I decided that, like, I'm going with these guys. Done. That's happening. And there was plenty of reasons to not do that, and that it wouldn't work. So, yeah, not giving a fuck. So we're putting together a free I don't give a fuck club for that, to instill less fucks about the wrong things, more fucks about the right things, and just freeing up a lot of anxieties that people go through around future planning, future pacing, goal setting, achieving what they feel like they're meant to be achieving, and just the day-to-day, moment
just
to moment.
learning how to be more active in your own life, right? Like, more engaging and present in your own life, and just throwing the anxiety and the stress and the expectations on the outcome away, and being pumped and ready to just go after it and figure it out as you go, right? Like the amount of dreams and goals that everyone has that just, you know, I should have done that 5 years ago, I should have done that 10 years ago, and it's purely just in your own head while you haven't done those things. So that this group is pretty much just going to be you and I modelling the I don't give a fuck method.
I want to actually document what we've gone through and share the process of how this all come about, because there's a lot of coaches that business owners, healers, coaches, service providers, product like retailers as well in our network, who are still on that verge and are still trying to bridge that gap between establishing and breaking even, and then actually getting into a prosperous position. And so I feel like what we've been doing, for me, this is a breakthrough what we've done in the last few days, because my perception was it takes so much more time, so much more effort, so much more information than what it has, but it is just fucking flowed. So, well, to start with, it was the book. Wasn't even the book. Even
how the idea of it all came around, right? Like, we're just talking about it, and it just flowed.
We just want to work together. What are we going to do? What are we going to do together?
Just back and forwarded about that for ages because we couldn't.
We didn't know.
We didn't know until we both just had a conversation about life.
Yeah, about our own stuff. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so, and then we just kind of back and forwarded about that. But and we were all. I think one of the conversations that stands out for me was trying to, you know, fit life, like our work around our lives, and that it doesn't have to be so, like, for everyone it doesn't have to be so stressful, and it doesn't have to be so calculated and structured and planned. Well, it doesn't work like that for me anyway. And then once we were talking about it, it really flowed how important that is to you as well.
I think that because we didn't know what to do together, we then just spoke about each individual's businesses and, okay, where are you at the moment? What's going on for you? What are you trying to achieve? Where are the gaps? And then same for me. Where are my gaps? What are we doing? What am I trying to achieve? And then we found a spot where it was aligned, where we both had a gap we could collaborate on, and it was basically like we both had got one-on-one clients. We've both put together groups, Facebook groups, and been delivering in them. Sam's been doing that for a lot longer than me. And but there was this hole where we both didn't really have a hook, or like a marketing hook to start with, and also we didn't have or you have a group coaching, I guess.
I do.
But that was a spot where we found like that commonality, that common place where we could put something together that would we could drive people to, and actually deliver value together, and just work together. So it was more like, how can we work together? What's going to fit around that? And
I think our core values and beliefs around that are really, really similar, and that's kind of how it came about. Like us talking about it was because we both are different, but we do still view the world the same. Like we both go into, like, we both just don't give a fuck, and we want to do what we want to do, and we just want to have fun, right? Like we want to maximize.
Girls just want to have fun
always. But I think they were just so similar, and we just want to have fun all the time. We just want people to be happy and action takers and going after it. And we were just seeing that gap there of there's so much information out there, but there's not enough to kind of, I don't know,
push people through to not giving a fuck and actually have fun, enjoy life. It's like, all right, taking life so fucking serious. And like, what? Like, I just want to have fun. How can I help other people have fun? Why are people not having fun? Because they care so fucking much about the little things, about the imaginary things.
Even how that whole conversation happened, like, we were just hanging out. And then it was like, within 2 hours, we'd had it all kind of
not giving a fuck about being perfect as well. That's one thing I noticed. Like, jot a few things down, have a bit of a thing, like, oh, that sort of feels right. Do you want to do that? Yep, done. Yep. Okay, good. Next.
Let's do it.
So, all right, we got to that point. We sat down, we got some piece of paper and a pen, and we jotted down a few things. We started with, what the fuck are we going to do in the group? Are you guys getting eaten alive?
Mosquitoes.
We sat down, we jotted down a few things with regards to the group and what we wanted to put into it, and then we realised, how did the book come along? Should we talk about that?
Yeah.
So we'll be releasing this phenomenal book that is going to revolutionise the galaxy with
Everyone
awesomeness.
needs a copy of it.
So yeah, we were like, oh, my memory's not serving me. How did that come about?
How did that come about? I think that was us trying to identify, like we had identified exactly wherever everyone that we knew was at. Like they were, this, like, I just don't want to give too much away about this book just yet.
Okay.
Yeah. But
What's the time
like
doing?
all.
It's 5 o'clock. All right.
Okay. All the tips and strategies that we kind of talk about in this book was identifying exactly where we were, and using that, and all the people that we coach in our own separate businesses. And how did that come about?
Well, we actually started by just going, well, let's offer someone something free first. So we'll go, this is something we can give to them for free. And it was actually an email program we're putting together first. And then from that, we'll offer something of a low cost ticket item. So maybe $49 course, like 4-8 week course, something like that. That's automated, and then from there, that'll be the group coaching, a more higher ticket group coaching program.
Yes, we are, Valerie.
You guys are taking over the freaking world.
Yeah, we are.
And then from that higher ticket coaching, then it can lead into one-on-one or two-on-one coaching. We'll do two-on-one potentially. Don't get too excited just yet. We're very busy. Taking over the galaxy is a big job. There will be a book and it will be awesome. Enough said. Boom. And so just knowing that structure, right? So we're like, all right, well, what's the first thing? The free thing would be a free email list. And then we sort of jotted a few things down. And we're like, well, that could be an ebook, and that'd be, no, it just morphed into an ebook instead, I think, didn't it? Really?
Yeah.
We jotted down.
It's so powerful.
Yeah.
Like there's so much in this book.
Should be charging an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
So, but that's because we're going to wrap up in a sec, guys. That's basically the nutshell. We're going to be releasing an ebook soon that is epic. We're going to be, from that, we're going to have a short course of some form or fashion that we're putting together, which we made it short, but it looks like it's not going to be short.
Yeah, it's long. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of steps and strategies and so much valuable content.
Hey, Mumsy Bear. It is, it's amazing how much you can get, and it literally starts with one idea, like one concept. Don't give a fuck, right, is a concept. From that, it's like, all right, put down a few points of how not to give a fuck. And it's like, all right, you've done that. Now extrapolate on those points, on each of them, how to not give a fuck in those. And then it's like, all right, then from them you can go boom. And within literally fuck all time, a couple of days, we're like, we could probably turn this into a fucking 2-year bloody retreat.
Totally. And
good, Valerie.
I'll be joining coming. Yay! Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, and the book itself. There's nothing. Well, there's no excuses that you could use reading this book to come back at us to say there's reasons why you should give a fuck, because we've got you covered. We've got it covered, right? There's nothing. There's no way around it. So, yeah, if you're like ready to kind of break through and not give a fuck and have more fun, be an action taker, this will be the book that will...
Something just come to me, right, is that the two biggest reasons that people make for not coming on board anything is time and money. And me and Sam have made... we haven't even made it a point, it's just the way life's gone, is that Sam is the epitome of you fucking time limitations is no fucking excuse.
Yeah.
And I'm the epitome, what's that word?
Epitome.
Epitome of not having money is no fucking excuse. And so...
There's nothing you can say.
There's literally nothing.
Nah.
And everything else stems from that. Oh, I've got to think about it. Got to talk to this person. So I was talking about sales to one of my clients this morning as well. And they're all stories. They're all stories. They're all giving too many fucks. And they're fucks given that hinder and paralyze people from following their dreams, living their passions, identifying with their purpose and trusting that that's what they're there to do, and actually following their heart and living from their heart and getting the fuck out of their head, which I think it was Greg Braden that said that the last century was the century of discovering the mind. This century we're going into is the 18-inch journey from the head to the heart and learning to live from our heart. And that is what it is. It's living from your heart is giving no fucks, letting the mind do what it does, keep you safe, look left and right when you're crossing the road. Other than that, that's probably the most decision you make on a daily basis, crossing the road. All the rest are just illusory, made up, imaginatory.
Well, it's all the time that you spend as well. Like all that time with all those, like you said, the storytelling and the excuses and the, you know, well, I can't because of this, and then sitting, thinking on it and worrying about it and stressing about it. And I mean, my whole attitude is just do it. Just go out and do it. You know, your time is so valuable. You can't replace. It's the one thing you can't replace, right? Like it's just fleeting all the time. So when you don't give a fuck and you're just going after it, and there's no excuse, like you said, you've got you've had the finance thing. You know, any excuses that come to you. My time is so limited, and I can work all my different things around that. That there's. Yeah.
Single mum, business owner, group leader, radio host.
Work a part-time job
as well. Fuck me.
Yeah.
Epic.
Busy. And still can find the time. So, yeah. You all need to get this book because you will gain 4 or 5 hours every week just in not having the space for excuses and not having the space... And the mental clarity as well, just to go after it, and that it's just so heavy, isn't it? It's so heavy, that worry and giving a fuck about things that shouldn't be giving a fuck about. Totally.
Be fierce.
Yeah, be fierce. Stay tuned for that.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Love you lots. Thanks for joining. Sammy,
if you want to join the I Don't Give a Fuck Club, we are going to put the link in the comments straight after this video, and it's a free group, so come on over because,
come and give less fucks with us.
Yes, absolutely. Beautiful.
How much is the book? Stay tuned. Stay tuned, brother. We'll have it out. All right.
Awesome.
Peace out. A-Town. Love you guys.
Soon.